Welcome back to another episode for my channel. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. Today we are going to discuss raising children. That's right, raising children. And I think if you're anything like me, raising children has been the hardest job that I have had. Um, and I think a lot of it is because um, I faced some challenges with how I approached parenting. I always would refer back to when I was a kid and how my mom raised me, and I always said that I never wanted to raise my children the way I was raised. And My mom was, you know, she always provided. She made sure we had everything that we needed. Not always everything we wanted, but definitely had everything that we needed. And she was very, very strict, really strict. And she was one of the type of parents where you kind of feared her. She wasn't one that you could just, really come out to and talk to, or, you know, voice your feelings or opinions. She just wasn't that type of parent. So I always said, oh, I didn't want to be that way, and I don't want to be so strict and so hard on my kids. But now that I am grown and have children of my own, and um, I see uh, that what I should have been doing was exactly what my mom did with us, because we turned out to be fantastic children, fantastic adults, you know, because of the way she raised us. Um, she didn't play. She was no nonsense. You know, your grades wasn't right, you got a whooping. If your grades weren't up to par to where she thought, we're not talking, D's and F's, but just if it wasn't up to par, don't let the school call. You got in trouble. Don't act a fool in church. You got in trouble. Um, so she didn't play that. And I think what happens is when we get to be parents, we, for whatever reason, try to provide more leniency, on our children, and try to be more um, friendly. Not necessarily be friends with them, but try to be relatable, to the point where in sometimes the translation of parent child becomes confused with uh, friend and friend. Um, and so you're trying your best in order to give them the things that you didn't have, which you thought were so necessary. Um, you try your best to be able to relate to them and keep the lines of communication open, and tell them that they can come to you with anything that they, want to talk about, anything that's going on at school, just whatever the situation may be. And it doesn't necessarily work, because everybody's parenting style is going to be different. Now, because my mom didn't do a whole lot of, affectionate, hugging, loving types of things, um, I think that kind of translated over into my parenting. Now, make no mistake, I always knew my mom loved me. You know what I'm saying? Even if she didn't say it, I always knew and felt loved. But she was just not one that expressed it as often. Now, she's better at doing it now than she ever was when we were kids. Now, as far as telling my children I love them and hugging them and all that, I do all of that. But for whatever reason, they want something more. My oldest children will tell me that I don't have empathy, and I'm kind of like a no nonsense type of parent. Like, if it doesn't make sense to me, I'm just like, that doesn't make sense. So I'm not the, well, baby, well, let's, no. If you did something wrong, or if I need to get my point across to you, it's coming through straight up. It's like, you need to stop doing that. It's coming through like that. And they want you to be softer when you deliver things. But like I tell them, the world is not going to deliver everything it has for you softly. Sometimes the world is going to be abrupt, and you need to be able to handle it. You need to be able to deal with it. And I think that my children had such a sense of entitlement because we always tried to do everything for them to avoid them having to go through some of the things that we went through, or to avoid them making some of the same mistakes we made, because I didn't have anybody to help me to navigate through those channels. So I always said, if I had kids, I'm gonna make sure that my kids don't do, like the credit card situation, and they don't do, student loans, and all that, to get themselves in a situation to where their life would be harder. And it was like, the more I tried to help, the more they resented it. And it was, they was like, oh, I can't be talked to. I think I'm right about everything, which that may be true, to a degree. But they always want to tell you a scenario. And when you don't agree with the outcome or what they stated they did in reaction to the scenario, it's like, oh, you're never on my side. They want you to agree with them even when they're wrong. And I can't do that, because if anybody is going to tell you that the stuff that you did was wrong, it should be your parent. We're not going to do anything to hurt you, but it seems as though they think that everything we do is intended to hurt them in some form or fashion. Now, and sometimes I get disappointed with their actions, because disrespect is a just something that I just can't tolerate. When you're disrespectful and all I've tried to do is help you, then at that point there has to be I'm a back up. I'm gonna back up, because I just don't have to put up with it. And apparently you feel a type of way about me, but I still feel like there is still a level of respect that should be there, period, no matter what has happened. And once that level of respect is crossed, or you feel like you don't owe me that, I'm a back all the way up. So I'll cut you off. And I don't know why, but people think your children are not exempt from being cut off. Everybody can get it. Everybody can be cut off. Your mama, your sister, your cousin, your brother, your children. Anybody that is not contributing to your well-being and your mental health can get cut off. So before I let you take me into a place where I don't want to be and interrupt my peace and my whatever, I'm gonna cut you off. And it doesn't mean that I don't love them. It just means that I don't have to talk to you. I don't have to put up with it. I don't have to tolerate it. And I'm fine with not talking to you. Do I want something bad to happen to you? Absolutely not. Am I still gonna be praying for you? I definitely will be, because it is apparent that you do need it. Am I always in the right? No, I'm not always in the right, but I always come from a good place. Is my delivery kind of off? Yes. I can be a little harsh, but I do that because I don't like to sugarcoat it for you. I need you to know that this is what it is, and that's it. You want me to baby you, and you want me to say, well, if you tell me you did something and you went off on your boss, and you telling your boss you ain't gonna do this and you ain't gonna do that, and you're not gonna talk to me. No, you're not gonna talk to me. And I know you need your job because you need somewhere to stay. I'm saying, listen, don't handle it that way. Do what the people tell you to do, and oh, you always on their side. You always on everybody's side but mine. What do you want me to say? You would like for me to say, yeah, don't let them talk to you that way. Quit. Don't you ain't got to worry about paying your bills. Go ahead and quit your job. It's like, why would I say that? I'm going to tell you the right thing that I think you should do. And from there, you do what it is that you feel is the best thing to do. It doesn't have to be what I said, but I'm just saying, when the stuff hit the fan, don't say I didn't tell you. That's all. That's all I'm saying. So, raising children, even though I feel like it has been really, really rewarding, it has also been really difficult to navigate parenting, because you have different children, different personalities, different attitudes, and you have to try to adapt and adjust to the right way to parent each child, because everybody is not going to be the same. My oldest two children, they have really, how do I want to say it? They have really tested tested my they have really tested the boundaries of parenting. I have really had to pray for them, as well as for myself, my mindset when it comes to how I feel about certain things they have done or said. And I do get disappointed. I know they don't think that they think I'm emotionless, but I just don't feel the need to wear my emotions on my sleeves at all times. Could I be a little bit more sensitive or empathetic? Yes. um, but even in those instances, disrespect is never okay. And I say, and people may disagree, you let me know in the comments what you think. I say, if it gets to a point where it's a constant disrespect, you have the right to remove yourself from that situation. Do you get into it with your children and they may say something disrespectful at one point in time? Yes, they do. They come back, they apologize and say, Mom, I won't do it again. You receive that. But when someone continues to be disrespectful, continues to devalue, and continue to unappreciate all you did and sacrifice for them, and you know constantly is in a state of disagreement with you, you have the right to distance yourself from those individuals. I don't care who they are. You have that right. Raising children, for those of you who are raising children, I know some of you can agree with what I say, disagree. But I just feel like at the end of the day, respect goes a long way. Even if you don't necessarily like what I have to say or like something that I did, respect just has to remain intact. It can't work any other way. So, yeah, parenting is tough, and especially this day and age, this generation of children, oh my God, is so different than when we grew up. Listen, some of the stuff that these kids do these days, we would not have dared do with our parents. Like, we probably wouldn't even be alive, let alone it just wasn't tolerated. Even now, to this day, with my mom, it's just some things I'm not gonna do, and I'm grown. I'm not gonna cuss around her. Now I can cuss now, and that's how I know I can stop cursing, because when I get around my mama, I'm aware of everything that I say, and I make it a point not to, curse around her. I don't drink or smoke anyway, so that, is not, but I wouldn't do that around my mom. It's just some things that I'm just not going to do because it's a respect thing. Even if me and my mom have had an argument or a disagreement, I have never cursed like ever, because I feel like it's just a level of respect, and I owe her that. Even if I don't think I owe her nothing else, I owe her at least that. And so that's all I'm saying. I'm just saying, if you don't owe your parent nothing else, you owe them at least your respect. And once that has been, once that has been taken out of the equation, you have to decide to move a little differently. And again, it does not mean that you're always right in the situation and they're always wrong. But even when I'm wrong, I'm expecting a level of respect. So, yeah, I have 4 children and 2 of them that are grown, and I have my 16-year-old and my 9-year-old. And so, whenever you have different children, the other children can kind of see the things that I'm always trying to choose my words carefully, especially when dealing with, kids. They see the things that their siblings do, and they try their best not to mimic those behaviors. And so you're always having to explain to the smaller kids why, this or that or the other happened. And it creates for a difficult dynamic at times. So, it's different, and it's parenting is it's hard. It may not be as hard for some than others, but I know for me, I get disappointed really, really easily, because I know the type of parent I've been. I know that everything I do for them comes from a good place. I know that anything I do is to try to help them, and it's to try to help them not to make the same mistakes or some of the same mistakes that I made. So anything that I do is really, 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 even though it may be delivered abruptly, it's always coming from a good place. And I just don't really understand the hostility or the disrespect or the vibe that I get back, whenever I try to, help them. So, but it's not all bad. It's not all bad, not all good. It's just pointing out the mere fact that parenting can be tough. And it does not mean that it's something wrong with your parenting or something wrong with the child. It just sometimes happens. And you can do all that you need to do, and they can apply, themselves as well. And for whatever reason, it still just does not necessarily work the way you think it should. So yeah. But I love my little munchkins. Don't like them sometimes, but I love them. You know how you can love them but not like them sometimes. Yeah, that's how I be feeling sometimes. So yeah. So you guys tell me about your parenting style. Tell me about what you think about raising children and the differences between when we grew up in our generation and this generation here. Totally different. Really different. And I would rather be in the generation I grew up in than ever had to tackle this, being in this generation here, for sure. So that is all for me today. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Comment down below what you think, what things you face with your children. How do you deal with those dynamics? Tolerating disrespect, not tolerating disrespect, just whatever you think about what we discussed today. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button for me. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Support my channel. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.